Good evening, Sadhguru. My name is Panki Bharadwaj, and I wanted to ask you, what is the definition of self-actualization according to you, and can a normal human being like us can ever attain to that stage?
I must tell her, when we first, started teaching these inner engineering programs, the brochure, a little brochure we used to have used to say, from ordinary to extraordinary. So people come, it used to be a 14-evening program, and after second, third day, they come and say, Sadhguru, nothing special is happening to me. I said, I never said something special will happen to you, but you said from ordinary to extraordinary. Yes, I said you will become more ordinary than others. Because the biggest disease on the planet is people want to be special. If you just come to terms to simply be ordinary as you are, in a way you've already taken a huge spiritual step, okay? That you have come to terms with the nature of your creation. This itself is a huge step. This is not about saying, okay, all my freaky nature is fine, that's not it. That you're just ordinary, you're not trying to be special. Being special means you're trying to be one-up on somebody all the time, which has been taught to you from kindergarten. Are you first or second, what? From day one, nonsense. See, when you want to be number one, which is a most special place that people are looking for, what it means is, you somewhere enjoy other people's inabilities and sufferings. It's not about you blossoming into your full-fledged life, it is about being one-up on somebody all the time. But this is not the nature of life, this is the nature of a poor intellect, a very poor intellect which desperately wants to prove it is special. But the nature of life is like this, whether it's an earthworm or a grasshopper or a plant or a tree or anything, if you observe any life, all this life is striving for is to become a full-fledged life. This is all the striving for the human being also, to become a full-fledged life in all dimensions. But the only problem with the human being is, we clearly know what is a full-fledged earthworm or a grasshopper, but we do not know what is a full-fledged human being. This is the problem, because nature has drawn two lines for every other creature within which they live and die. But for the human being, there is only bottom line and there is no top line, and that's what human beings are suffering. They are not suffering their bondages, they are suffering their freedom. This is a serious problem. In how many ways you are trying to create bondages for yourself, see, every day? Because you want something to bind you where you feel like you belong to something, otherwise, what is this? In the middle of nowhere, I want you to just imagine, in this cosmos, you don't know where this goddamn solar system is, how the hell everything is held together. One simplistic story you can believe, okay, God is sitting there and rolling all these things, but that is… even a kindergarten child won't buy it in another 10-15 years, believe me. Yes, in another 15-20 years you will see a 5-year-old child will not buy this stuff. So, self-actualization, how do you know there is a self? Assumption again, isn't it? See, beliefs are like this. We can make you believe anything if we work hard enough on you from the day you're born. These beliefs have come with all kinds of conclusions. So, first and foremost thing is, debrief yourself. Debrief yourself of culture, of religion, enjoy the culture. Culture is the color that we wear. You enjoy the culture, but culture is not an effective tool for search of truth, because what mess we do today is tomorrow's culture. That means what mess they did yesterday is today's culture. You think it is properly thought out? Everybody is doing their own stuff and that'll become tomorrow's culture, isn't it? The same way it's happened in the past. Don't think in the past everything was sacred and everything was wonderful, no. They were also confused, they did whatever they did, and that's our culture. Let's enjoy the culture, let's wear our culture, let's preserve our culture, let's nourish our culture, but that is not a tool for search of truth. For that, you have to debrief yourself completely. Then, if you debrief yourself completely, you don't know whether there is self or not. So how do you actualize a damn thing that you don't know whether it exists or not? So search becomes real, seeking becomes genuine. I don't even think it's an issue. Either it's now or in the past. It's never been an issue. If somebody exhibited a certain level of competence and success, nobody is looking at your age. Nobody is really considering the age at any time. Age was a factor when you were waiting to inherit something from your father. He wouldn't leave it till he's done with it, okay? If you want to build something, I don't think age is a factor. Anybody who successfully does something, irrespective of his age, is always recognized. Nobody is even thinking whether young or old. That's a wrong notion. You must just focus on what you can create. Your age matters only if you're looking at marriage. Understand? If you're looking at any other accomplishment, I don't see where age even comes in. I don't think somebody has to think, I'm a young leader, I'm an old leader. Are you capable of doing something that'll inspire 1 million people? Are you capable of doing something that millions of people would want to make use of? This all the question is. Who cares how old you are? It is within the minds of people who have not succeeded. It is those who have not succeeded who are complaining. Those who have succeeded are just focusing on what they need to do, isn't it?
Here at Raj Bhavan, the graciousness of Governor Vidyasagar Ravji, and probably this is the most spectacular view in Mumbai. Here we are leaving the coast, the west coast of India, and from now on it's all inland. We're going to miss the ocean for sure. So leaving Mumbai for Gujarat, and further to Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and to Delhi. That's the route for us. So this is our last moment here on this trip with the ocean. Raj Bhavan is located at literally the land's end in Mumbai, and a spectacular view of the Arabian Sea, as it is called here. This has a long maritime history because the sailors of the old, they found it easy to navigate along the Arabian coast all the way to northern Africa, rather than trying to navigate the open seas. They hugged the land along the Arabian coast and reached Damascus, reached Jerusalem, and also into the northern African coast. This has been a significant part of India's trade in the past and still continues to be. So, we're going to miss the ocean for sure.
But Sadhguruji, suppose we say this to the common man who has a little house.
Where did you meet a common man?
I'm imagining it. That, they have so many chores to do.
No, what I'm saying is
in a day.
every man or woman think they're special, believe me.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so where did you meet a common man, I'm asking?
Oh. I will come to this as well, actually. I want to ask you this. Now I'm talking about a household where people have to literally go to work every day to pay their rents, Children have to be educated, food has to be on the table. They're busy morning to night. They go to office, maybe their boss is not pleasant with them. They come home, maybe they have a little tiff with their wife. The children have their own little wants and, demands, and dealing with so much. How can they keep reminding themselves that, it's all in my mind and I have to be…
No. First they have to know this. These are all the things These are all not punishment imposed upon them. These are all the things that they always wanted. They wanted a job and they got it. They wanted a wife or a husband, they got it. They wanted children, they got it. They wanted a car in which they're stuck in the traffic jam. Okay.
Yes.
I'm saying these are all things that they wanted. So they must understand, if their dreams come true, they are a big mess.
Yes, actually, I have heard this. Be careful what you ask for, because you might get it. And yes, we've all got it.
So they're complaining about things that have worked in their life. When you get to a position of responsibility and power, what it means is, every thought that you generate, every emotion that you generate, every act that you perform is going to impact millions of people. When you have such a privilege that everything that you do is going to impact millions of people, how you keep yourself is extremely important. But no work has been done on that. No individual is working on any kind of self-improvement within himself. Simply whatever has happened naturally because of their parents or other social situations, whatever they have picked up, that's it. There is no focused work on how to evolve this human being. When you want to touch so many people's lives, is it not very important that you have clean hands and gentle hands? It's extremely important. Nothing has been done about it. This is why spiritual process becomes important. Good morning and welcome to every one of you to this Isha Insight 2014, the third edition of Isha Insight. History is replete with many events where individual leaders, because of their insight and their commitment, have changed the course of what happens on this planet. At the same time, there are also many disastrous events on the planet when leaders operated without the necessary insight and did things which caused enormous disasters on this planet. So leadership at any level, whether you're running your own business or a state or a nation or whatever, in whichever way, if you are touching a certain number of people in a day, I consider you a leader. So being a leader, three basic qualities which sets a leader apart and makes him into a fruitful proposition for everybody around him is his integrity, his ability to inspire people to do the right things, and above all, insight. So these three qualities of integrity, inspiration and the necessary insight into the activity that we perform. As I said, without integrity, we will not set the necessary ambience for success. Inspiration, if you do not have an infectious level of inspiration, that people around you are fired up just by seeing you and the way you function, if that doesn't happen, a certain level of sloth and inertia will set into the atmosphere. Inertia means it's death. You know, if somebody becomes inert, that's called death. So situations will die. We may be doing great things, but if the necessary inspiration cannot be generated moment to moment on a daily basis, whatever great things we may be doing, many great things have floundered simply because the necessary inspiration was missing in the atmosphere. And insight, above all, insight is your ability to see something that the majority of the people do not see. When you become a leader, either you grew into your leadership or you were born into it or you were elected or whichever way, when you become a leader, leadership gives you a higher perch. If you sit on a higher perch than the rest, and if you do not see any better than the others, then you will become an object of ridicule. So insight into what we are doing, being a leader is like being a captain of a ship. If you are the captain of the ship, you don't have to do the hard work that the crew is doing, but you must be able to chart out a successful path, you must be able to see everything that is there right now, and you must be able to foresee that which cannot be seen right now. So this responsibility is fulfilled only if one develops a certain level of insight. Above all, we want to genetically engineer your DNA in the next 4 days for success, because success is the sweetest thing in human life. Next 30 days, I am on the road, I want you to stay awake with me. If you consume water, you must be a part of this. நன்மை அது வேணும்னா நம்ம ஊரு ஆறு எல்லாம் பார்த்ததானே நன்மை.
Here we are at the Vivekananda Memorial Rock, at this iconic place, and the Rally for Rivers is going to take off from here in Kanyakumari.
We are glad to hear that governments and the minister and the people of Kerala have managed to revive one or two important rivers, which is a wonderful act. இப்போ நம்ம முன்னாடி இருக்கிற சவாலு சாமானியமான சவால் இல்ல, நம்ம உயிருக்கு சவால் இது. சும்மா உணர்ச்சி வசமா போனா இதுக்கு தீர்வு வராது, நமக்கு தீர்வு வந்துடும்.
I know you're not rallying for rivers, you're just protecting yourself from the sun, and that's what I want you to do for the next 30 days. Sun means like this, rain means like that, nothing happening means like this.
Now, if you give a missed call, the river will not come up. What we are working towards is a policy. If we implement the policy, in the next 20 to 25 years' time, the water will rise by minimum 15 to 20%. Before we die, we want to see that.
If you find a solution for a problem, you must be honored for your intelligence. If you find a problem in every solution, you must be put aside in this country, because we need solutions. When I park the car here, the meter is logging in 3,069 kilometers, 8 days on the road, the rally is rolling on. But all of you young people, to whatever extent you can, whichever way, I want you to gather yourself into small groups of 1, 2 or 5 or 10 and do your own little rally across Tamil Nadu.
So that dimension which I am referring to as a source of creation right now, what is its nature? Which is what I believe scientists are trying to figure out in some way. So, if I have to describe it in some articulation, we can only say it's nothingness. When I say nothingness, the moment I say nothingness, immediately in normal English language it has a negative connotation of not being anything or not worth anything. If I say you are nothing, it is understood as you're no good. So I'm not referring to nothing in that sense. Probably we would understand it better if you put a hyphen between no and thing. It is not a thing. It is non-physical in nature. So whatever you try to say about it in definition or in description is bound to be wrong even before you utter it, because it's non-physical in nature. So this non-physical nature, if you look at it, it has a fringe nature. It has a core nature which is absolutely non-physical, and it has a fringe nature which is dark, and it's a transition from non-physical to physical. I don't know, we should ask an ophthalmologist why it is so, but when I really look at the sun or even the moon, particularly when I see the moon, people always The sun is very much true, but it could be because you are getting blinded by the sun, which I don't, because I used to just stare at the sun for hours at one time. I always see a black halo around the sun, not a white halo. The same with the moon. I think I've asked so many people, they all see white halo. But I always see a black halo around the sun because I see the same thing within myself. Probably people will think I'm the devil if I say this. The very core of what this is, around that there's always a black halo. And this halo gradually is transiting from non-physical nature to physical nature, which is dark in nature. So, we traditionally, in yogic terminology, we say, Shiva, when he sits still, he is nothing. The word Shiva means, Shiva means that which is not. That is, he is not. What is creation. What is not is the source of creation. So when you look at this aspect, the very core aspect is a non-existence. And immediately next to that, before the physicality happens, there is a dark face. We call something dark, and always in language and literature and in normal social connotation, the word dark is always understood as remote or even threatening or dangerous or negative. This is essentially because of the way our visual apparatus are made. Suppose you were an owl, you always would think dark as a very bright thing. So, the human perspective of dark being a negative aspect is a very limited way of looking at it. Our sense of vision, essentially. So when I say because of lack of terminology, or if I invent a new word, it won't be any better than dark, so I settle for dark. So this dark dimension is where you can understand the nature of creation. Beyond that, the total non-existent state, that is not a place to understand, that's a place to just merge, which is not the interest of a scientist. And mathematics will not go there. So, in the yogic tradition, we say when he moves, Shiva is a dark one. Always Shiva has been referred to as a dark one. In his ultimate state of Shiva, as Sadashiva, he is utterly still and nobody can feel him unless you're willing to become one with it. But when he moves, his initial phase of movement is dark. When he really comes out and becomes a part of the world, then he's light. So this is, in my perception, somewhere, people who saw the nature of creation within themselves are trying to explain this in a personified way. In his core, he is absolutely still. You cannot know where he is. You can only become one with him. If you're willing to be sucked into him, it's all right. But if you want to, in any way transact with him, it is not possible there. But when he begins to stir, he's dark. There, if you want to go, you need courage. You are willing to transcend. You're willing to leave everything that you know and enter into a completely different area where you do not know what's the end for you. Or if you want to transact with him properly, when he becomes light, which is creation, you can transact with him, you can see everything as Shiva and experience it, you can be devout about it, you can worship it, all. But when you go to the dark phase or beyond that, there is no worship, there is no nothing, it is just dissolution. Which today I feel the modern physics is very much going in this direction. According to the law, according to the yogic law, how it goes is, Shiva was asleep. That means he became totally dead. But he's there, he's still, absolutely. And then Parvati or Shakti came and moved around him 3 times. Then he stirred up. It's from then creation happened. They clearly say they did not copulate. She just went around him 3 times and the basic force of creation began to happen, which was not physical, which was a transition. So this dark face around Shiva began to expand. And then Parvati said, "Is this your creation? Look at this, what you created, just one dark wave of nothing. Is this what you're capable of?" Then he woke up. And then they copulated. Out of their copulation, the whole creation happened.
It could be a metaphor for
It is a metaphor.
scientific understanding of forces and particles.
We have experiments where, in absolute vacuum state, if you apply electromagnetic force, suddenly virtual protons and virtual
Virtual
neutrons
particles
happen.
come, yes, yes,
It doesn't even have to touch.
yes.
Just around that, if you apply electromagnetic force,
Yes.
virtual protons and virtual neutrons happen. So he said, what you're saying is very similar. She just goes around
Yes.
and creation begins.
The spontaneous creation
Yeah.
of particles happens and they come in pairs. They're always created in pairs.
That's what
which is
they
intrinsic.
happen in pairs and then they copulate. They touched each other.
And that annihilates to create energy. Those particles, when they annihilate each other, the way the energy forces work is that the electromagnetic forces around create from nothingness a pair of particles. And the pair of particles, when they join, they copulate, actually spontaneously results in the creation of energy. This is a very well accepted scientific principle and verified in experiment.